Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to each and everyone from Murugappa Water Technologies and Scalene Livprotec. And again, what we will go through today is basically to give a detailed insight into what we call it as R&D. When we say R&D, it's basically what we believe is revolution and disruption, although revolution and especially disruption is associated with a negative connotation. But here, what we are going to talk today is something really revolutionary and disruptive approach towards water sustainability. So again, my name is Jayateerth. You can call me Jay or you can address me as Jay. We have...
Hi, I'm Dr. Rajesh Bhat from Scalene Livprotec. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all from different parts of the world.
Yeah, in fact, we have doctors, we have postgraduates, we have engineers, we have climate activists. So we have a very diverse set of audience, or we have a diverse set of participants today. Thank you each and everyone for being part of this webinar. So what we'll do is we will get started since we already passed 2 minutes. Yeah, so let's share the screen. So again, welcome to R&D Revolution Disruption. With water time machine, again, there is a very, I would say scientific reason why we call this as water time machine and why this is revolution and disruption. At least in the last 100+ years, we have seen in water, wastewater, there are different approaches, whether there are engineering innovations, there have been some design innovations, but then technology or I would say a disruptive approach towards water sustainability per se hasn't been that much more, visible or, in realistic terms, even in perceived way, it has not been there. So why it is so? We'll, of course, we'll connect, communicate, and collaborate in today's webinar. So, yeah. So today we are going to speak about Aquatron. Basically, it is a platform technology. We are talking about from wastewater to clean water or drinking water or ORP negative water. But it's a platform technology which can be applied to any flowing fluid which has certain contaminants or which has certain elements to be recovered. So that's how we would put it. Yeah. So just a brief about Murugappa Group. We are a conglomerate with 30+ businesses across diverse segments globally, across all the continents. In terms of revenue, we are 9 billion+ in the US with more than 60,000 employees. So yeah, we are many things to many people. That's how I would say. And in fact, today we're going to see why this technology is many things to many people, because it can be I would say for human health, it can be important for gut health. It can be for, let's say, a brewery, it can mean different things. Or for a fertilizer, it will mean different. So that's how this technology is also about. So yeah, so with this, I will hand over the stage to Mr. Dr. Rajesh Bhat.
Thank you, Jay. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome all of you for this webinar, detailed discussion on already, as Jay told, it's a water time machine. Why it is water time machine? Just I will take few seconds to explain. Normally, what we see, water travels. Either it may be in our house, or it may be in the industry, or it may be in a hotel or a hospital. When the water travels from one area to another area, it gets contaminated because of the human interventions. So far we have seen these contaminants can be taken out by means of physicochemical process, by means of the biological process. And today we are all seeing the reverse osmosis followed by the evaporation of the RO reject by using multiple effect evaporator. So we achieve the best quality water, what is called zero liquid discharge, also in terms of statutory norms. At the same time, this particular thing is achieved at very high energy cost and generating a lot of solid waste, which are hazardous in nature. But at the same time, the maintenance cost will be very high, operating cost will be very high. So what it says is we are achieving certain thing at the cost of environment itself. So therefore, when we look back to all these technologies available today, we thought that there may be a disruption required in this area. So that is what we we have invented what is called water time machine, or in short, it is called Aquatron. So how it works, how it will be useful, how the philosophy is different from the existing conventional technologies, and who are all beneficiaries, and what exactly the science and technology behind this, and how the engineering beauty can be made it possible or make it possible in the industry scenario, or any area where the water has to be recovered at its pristine level. So water is one of the biggest challenges confronting humanity today. Everybody will agree. So water is going to be a very scarce commodity. Nothing will be available. If it is available also, it will not be available in the pure form. So why? Because undated contamination of water equips us with heavy metals. Today we are all talking about heavy metals, PFAS, forever chemicals, and the hazardous organic compounds. So one or the other way, it is joining the water. Water is to be in one word. Water is an unknown chemical today. Any chemical, when we manufacture, water is needed. But to manufacture water, we don't need chemical. Water cannot be manufactured like other chemicals are manufactured in the industries. That is the beauty of water. Though water, what we feel today is H2O, but it is not H2O. It is a mystery behind H2O. And it is very difficult to understand water. That's why widespread water scarcity for agriculture use, drinking, and industrial use is becoming very high. Depletion of groundwater is a known subject today. Everybody is depending on groundwater. It is even for industrial purposes, people are depending on groundwater. The large amount of untreated wastewater is generated because our industrialization, urbanization is increasing. Everybody wants pure water, but nobody will take care of the wastewater. Who will take care, and how it will be recovered, and how the dissolved compounds will be recovered in its pure form. And when we, as I told, when we achieve ZLD, it will be at what cost? It will be at very high energy consumption cost. Because today we need more energy. This more energy will come from when we burn the coal, and the burning of coal will produce a lot of SO2 emission, the suspended particulate emission, the oxides of nitrogen from the power plants. This is also causing air pollution. So on the other hand, when we treat the RO reject in the evaporation and all, so we will produce a lot of hazardous waste. So in order to achieve zero liquid discharge, today we are producing air pollution as well as soil pollution. So, but it is no doubt the regulatory pressure is increasing worldwide. The compliance is getting stricter globally. So considering this, the disruption, as I told, revolution as well as disruption was the only answer, and we were looking for, and today we are with that. So why we are talking today is because current principles of wastewater treatment have not changed for over centuries. Jay already mentioned. But while the wastewater complexity has changed manifold, today what we see, the sewage is not the sewage which we were seeing 50 years back. So today's sewage is contaminated with a lot of medicines, because bioaccumulation of medicines in the human body is very low. We find a lot of antibiotics, even hormones, a lot of radioactive substances coming into the sewage. But whereas the sewage treatment system or plant is remaining same, it cannot address the challenges associated with the sewage as on date. So we know more about these issues related to current wastewater technology, and it is not easy to treat the wastewater. And already I have explained the complexity associated with that. We use in the present technologies, we use a lot of chemicals to treat the wastewater. The cost of RO process and RO membrane fouling is the issue. Management and disposal of the RO reject is the issue today. Energy escalation, in the sense, a lot of energy requirement when we use the evaporators is the issue. Chemicals used for cleaning membranes and evaporators is definitely a big issue. And more than that, we have to manage the toxic sludge. That is called toxic sludge management is the issue. So there are so many issues associated with the present wastewater management. So somehow we were adopting it. So because we need to achieve certain norms, we need to what is called meet the growing statutory compliance, and also as a part of sustainability responsibility we have been doing. But there is a way to do it or achieve everything in a different way. That is what we are going to present. So basically, unresolved issues in water need critical attentions globally. That is what in one sentence we want to tell. So how the critical attention can be narrowed down by means of technology, by means of the science, and by means of disruption, that will be explained in the coming slides. We know that the sustainability index, whatever we are talking today, is the water is essential for corporate sustainability. Water is the major contributor for sustainability index when we talk about manufacturing organization or any service organizations or in a hospitality industry. It is in the sustainability, the corporate sustainability model. If you see, the water is almost coming in 8 different headings. So that shows how much water is important today worldwide. So everybody is inclined towards how to recover the water in its usable way. So basically, it is towards achieving the corporate water goals. Water companies to pay out around almost 114 million European euros after missing performance targets. That we have seen a lot of the penalties are coming today worldwide. Not only in India, even outside countries, Western countries, US, the lot of penalties are coming on the companies, because not meeting the water targets or not meeting the regulatory norms. So it is going to be more stricter and stricter. So that is why the better technology is the need of the hour. Effective and safe wastewater treatment is one of the unsolved problems. That is what we have seen so far, facing humanity, and can only be solved with disruption as well as innovation. That is what we are going to talk. So we are going to talk about the solved or the solution for the one which cannot be unsolved or unresolved. So today, whatever the technology we are going to explain, this will more or less explain everything what is needed today. So hence, we are introducing nature restorative technologies. That is called Aquatron, water recovery system, or as they rightly told, water time machine, using patented FE-star technology. What is FE-star? F means fine, P means particle, S means short wave, T means thrombotic, A means agglomeration, R means reaction. Fine particle, short wave, thrombotic, agglomeration, reaction. That is total, it's a patented technology. FE-star is a principle because we convert all the dissolved compounds, dissolved molecules into its elements, and these elements will lose the counterpart, that is anions, and they will become chargeless, and they will get thrombolytic. Hence, they will join together by means of van der Waals forces of attraction. That is called agglomeration. So everything is happening in a short wave frequency. That's why it is called fine particle short wave thrombotic reaction. I will explain. It is a patented technology, and I will explain how it works. Aquatron is a revolutionary technology that uses principles of physics. This is the first time when we invented in the year 2017. This is the first technology which came into the world, or which got generated in this world based on the physics principle. And we were ahead of time when we invented this, because everybody knew how the technology works using chemicals, or a physical separation, or a biological oxidation followed by reverse osmosis or the evaporation to achieve ZLD. Nobody thought this entire technology can be, or this particular target can be met using the physics principles. So hence, this is the the only technology which is based on physics principle, which removes heavy metals and complex compounds from contaminated water without using chemical reactions, biological processes, reverse osmosis principle, or evaporator. And hence we achieve ZLD2. It's not that we don't use all these things, but it is not zero liquid discharge. We achieve zero liquid discharge by not using any of these type of conventional technologies. Not only ZLD, we also achieve the today's famous European norms called ZDHC, zero discharge of hazardous chemicals. So organizations will get manifold benefits when they adopt this type of technology. I will just touch upon the principles involved in this technology in the different pictures. So the entire technology is based on principle of resonance. Why principle of resonance we adopted is there is in nature, it's a natural process. There is a frequency of association between two elements. So nobody has created, for example, if you are getting copper sulfate in nature or iron oxide in nature or iron sulfate in nature, it is not created by human intervention. It is naturally created by the nature by means of frequency of association. So at the same time, there is a frequency of dissociation because when we see the river contamination today, the way we have contaminated the rivers since so many years, by this time no river would have been fit for consumption in any way, even after adopting any type of technologies. But that is not the truth. Today, whatever river after contamination or after pollution, when we measure, the TDS will not be more than 500 ppm. The COD will not be more than 50 ppm. How it happens? Because the nature, that is it's called self-assimilation capacity of the river. But there is a technology, nature's technology, which is continuously working on this way or in this way to clean the water on its own. This is called the frequency of dissociation, because all the dissolved compounds, nature will try to disassociate naturally using the sunlight, the moonlight, and its own kinetic energy. So we may call it as a fiction type of thing, but it is a naturally happening or nature's own rule, which will ultimately clean the river in its moving path. So hence the river bed cannot be mined because it contains a lot of precious elements. So in the similar way, we try to replicate, because I told in the previous slide, we are going to present a nature restorative technology. What means? We are mimicking the nature, that's all. Whatever is happening in nature, we are trying to replicate it in the shop floor or in the laboratory or in the R&D center or in the bigger industries. So we know that each and every element in the periodic table, we know the periodic table in chemistry. So each and every element in the periodic table has got a specific frequency of dissociation, that is called SFOD, and it's called its frequency of resonance. So there is a spinning, in the sense every element will spin due to this resonance frequency. So when we subject this specific frequency of dissociation based on the elemental analysis of the effluent, when we send these frequencies into the wastewater or a water or a seawater, the compounds dissolved in the water are subjected to this resonance and they will disassociate into the elemental composition. So that is called the disassociation. So the resonance produced breaks the compounds into its elements. So when they are in the elemental form, for example, zinc sulfate becomes zinc, sulfur, and oxygen. If it is cadmium chloride, it will become cadmium and chlorine. So like that, it will be disassociated into its respective elements. Only chlorine and nitrogen, they will go into the atmosphere as gas or any halogens per se. All other anions, for example, oxygen or other anions like if it is attached to any other cations, they will disassociate and they will attach to hydrogen. For example, only oxygen will attach to hydrogen and OH minus radicals will be formed. So if I take For example, if I take simple example, copper sulfate, the copper, sulfur and oxygen. So oxygen will seek hydrogen to associate. Copper and sulfur will settle as elements. This is the beauty of this, the frequency of dissociation, and this is IP. This is our patent. How we produce all these things, I will explain in a short way. So once all the cations are separated from their counterparts, anions, so they will start, because in our resonating column, which I am going to explain in the next slide, we will make a free fall. So it is nothing but a free fall. When there is a free fall, these cations will lose their charges, they become weightless, and they will join together. That is called agglomeration. Now we can connect with the Fe star. So we have converted all the dissolved compounds into fine particles. They are elements in presence of short wave frequency. And these elements, since they lose the charge, they become weightless. And due to van der Waals forces of attraction, they agglomerate temporarily. That is called Fe star, agglomeration reaction, naturally, which happens just by means of electricity and the production of frequency or dissemination of frequency into the water. So in the water also, when we see the contaminated water or a sea water, we can see different sized elements. There are macro sized elements, micro sized elements, and nano. Based on this, suppose if I talk about lanthanides and actinides series in the periodic table, they are all macro size. They are called heavy metals, and they are heavy by means by weight also and their size also. So next comes transition and inner transition elements. They are called micro sized elements. And the third one is group 1 and group 2 elements. They are called nano sized elements. So when the water has got a more nano sized elements in the or water or a contaminated water, they need a different type of filtration. What we normally call it as a reduction facilitated osmotic diffusion. This is called RFOD in short. This works. This RFOD principle works in presence of Aquatron. Because what happens? Once we convert every dissolved solids into elements, it is nothing but dissolved compounds into suspended solids. And these suspended solids, based on their particle size, they are nothing but elements present in the wastewater. Based on their particle size, it will be filtered out, adopting different filtration process. When it contains nano-sized particles more, we need to adopt osmotic diffusion, which runs at very low pressure, unlike reverse osmosis. So hence, when the RFOD is sending some water as a reject, it is called unprocessed molecule, unprocessed compound, which therefore the RFOD reject will have the total dissolved solid concentration almost similar to the inlet of the effluent. That is the beauty of this concept. So it is in unlike RO will reject the effluent, which will have 3 times more tedious concentration than the effluent. So hence it needs evaporation to evaporate the water. So this is the beauty of RFOD. So we will explain how everything happens. What is the what is called the typical effluent treatment plant looks like using this technology in the coming slides.
Yeah, just one, Doctor. So again, what we are seeing here is actually the slide which talks about the core of the technology, because we all know the challenges of water or the contamination of water across different streams, whether it is river, lakes, or groundwater, or even for that matter seawater. So again, this is very basic elemental physics. Nothing. I mean, this is nothing rocket science or out of the world. Only thing is the IP or the patent is mastering the laws or mimicking the laws of nature into a commercially offerable solution. That is how I would put Aquatron or water time machine as, whether it is RFOD or whether it is van der Waals forces. Van der Waals forces have been, this principle has been there across different applications. So nothing that we have or this whole technology has invented. So we have used what has already been there, and how do we basically provide it to the industries or to the communities at large, and for different applications. Like I said, this is a platform technology. It doesn't many times we are asked whether this is okay for this application or that application. I would put it this way, that the Aquatron or water time machine, like the river, doesn't discriminate. It just follows the simple basic laws of physics. Like physics doesn't discriminate whether physics is the same in India or elsewhere, right? So that's how I would say that the machine will only look at what is the contaminant or what is it that I need to dissociate, and it will continuously, consistently work. At times it is what we have seen, it's boring because it doesn't give you the challenges of high pressure in RO or a feed pressure increase or a membrane failure, or the, like doctor mentioned about the scaling in the evaporator, but this consistently delivers high quality ORP negative pristine water. So that's a beauty. So doctor, again.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Next slide. So this we try to explain you, what happens inside the resonating column when we send the frequency of dissociation in three different pictures. All the three will happen at a time in the same resonating column, but we are differentiating in a picture. So normally the boom tower process means what? It removes all dissolved impurities and delivers ZLD and zero discharge of hazardous chemicals without using multi-operator or RO process. This is the definition of our Aquatron. So how the epi-star principle takes place in a particular resonating column in three different ways. So first one is nothing but a contaminated water which goes inside the resonating column, which is contaminated due to dissolved compounds. It may be organic compound or inorganic compound or a pathogen. They are all dissolved compounds basically. So we, based on the elemental analysis of this particular effluent, we will fix the frequency of dissociation, and we will send these frequencies into the water through the help of antenna. There are 12 sets of antenna in each tower. So they will just, it is just like a TV antenna or whatever we can describe. So it will only receive the frequency, because the frequency what we operate is short wave. So it will receive the frequency and it will send these frequencies into the water. And since it is a program, all the elements present in the effluent is already fed in the artificial intelligence unit, which I will explain further what it is. So that those frequencies will be fed into the water by means of antenna. So once it is fed, all these dissolved compounds will break down into its elements. I already explained how the copper sulfate or a zinc sulfate or a cadmium chloride, what will happen. Even if you take protein, or if you take a carbohydrate or amino acids or a heterocyclic nitrogen compound, they are all broken down into its elements only, because organic chemistry means 5 basic elements: carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and sulfur. Nothing beyond these 5 basic elements, organic chemistry. Whereas inorganic means, in the periodic table, when we come down in the periodic table, we'll see a lot of elements. They are all what we call as inorganic elements or inorganic chemistry elements. So these compounds will be broken down into the elements. And these elements, as I told in the previous slide, these elements basically will lose the weight, they become weightless, and they, due to the van der Waals force of attraction, they attract with each other temporarily and they will start settling. Either settling means they need filtration, basically. They are now clogged, it can be filtered out. If they are not clogged, it cannot be filtered out, because they are all very fine particles. So they need agglomeration. Once they are agglomerated, it can be easily filtered out. So hence, as Jay was telling, this technology is a platform technology. It doesn't discriminate which type of effluent is coming, which type of industry we are talking, whether it is a seawater, whether it is a sewage, whether it is a industrial effluent, whether it is a groundwater treatment for contamination of heavy metals. We are not worried about that, because whatever today we talk about chemical contamination, they are part of this periodic table. So we know the periodic table and we can produce all the frequencies for all the elements present in the periodic table. Hence, we can treat any type of effluents coming from any type of industries today in world, or any type of hospital, or a service industry, or hotels, or sewage, or even desalination. So even desalination also we will explain how our technology works in a very different way compared to the present desalination technologies. Next slide. So when we talk about Aquatron or FE-Star technology, it is not only meeting the regulatory norms. Anybody who is adopting this technology, any industry who is adopting this technology will have the double benefits. One is, no doubt, everybody has to meet the law of the land regulatory norms. Other than that, they can achieve circular economy of water. It is pioneer circular economy of water basically, because whatever water you are sending into the Aquatron, you will get total quantity of water after recyclation. So the entire water can be reused, recovered. Even most of the cases we produce IS 10500 standard, what we call at par with the WHO standard. It is pristine drink, the water which is potable. And I will talk about the ORP negative, oxidation reduction potential negative water. This is the maybe cheapest way of producing ORP negative water. If we have to produce exclusively ORP negative water, we would have spent a lot of money. But here it happens on its own. That is the main effect or a side effect, whatever we define, that can be defined. That is the beauty of the technology. This is the only technology that removes heavy metals and hazardous chemicals with ease. The heavy metals or hazardous chemicals today, we know you have to remove them. It is very, very difficult. We have to spend a lot of energy, a lot of technologies, a lot of complications in operational area, you will see. But here it can be removed very easily in a very, very simple way. So it brings dramatic reduction in the water footprint. It gives zero liquid discharge without help of RO principle or evaporation. And because of that, since this technology runs at very low energy, it offers a low total cost of ownership and cost of operation. Suppose if somebody runs this plant for 3 to 4 years, they would have gained all the benefits in terms of carbon credits or in terms of operational efficiency, meeting the regulatory norm, meeting the sustainability index and global norms. All these things they can address with only one treatment technology. It works without use of RO process and multiple effect evaporator. So hence there is a lot of reduction or a very high level of reduction in energy cost. And I already told potential to convert energy savings to carbon credits. That is the biggest advantage in this technology. Next. So this is how it looks, very simple, because we believe that once the technology is advanced, it should be very, very simple. When we take an advanced car or a sophisticated car, it is very easy to drive, very easy for maneuvering. Like that, this technology, it runs automatically. It is very easy to run. In the entire picture, if you see the left side on the top, if you see there are different artificial intelligence units, what we call system control center, as well as HPST. So what is HPST? High power shortwave thrombizer. So what it contains? It has got a capacity to generate the shortwave frequency. So this HPST takes the information from a system control center. What are all the elements present? What are all these components in terms of concentration? And HPST will generate the frequency, and these frequencies will be fed into the boom tower. The boom tower is shown in blue. The boom tower contains 12 sets of antennas. So these antennas are nothing but they receive the frequency and they release the frequencies into the water. So now it is very clear. Once the effluent is coming inside the boom tower, we would have known the elemental analysis totally. What are all the elements? What are the concentration of these elements? And we have fed all those information in the system control center. And because we using that information, HPST has produced the frequencies, and these frequencies are getting fed into the boom tower, which contains the wastewater. So once the communication is completed between the wastewater present in the boom tower and the system, so hence the water flows continuously. It is a continuous process. It is not a batch process. That means when the water enters into the boom tower, there is a communication between HPST and the water. Once it is completed, then water is continuously flowing and processing. So what is processing means? All the dissolved compounds will be disassociated into its elements. If they are very heavy, they will be collected in the boom tower bottom cone. If they are in the micro and nano sized particles, if they are more in that number, then they will need the different filtration stages, 1 or 2 filtration stages. And once the nanoparticles have to be removed, then we will adopt the osmotic diffusion process to recover the water at its drinking quality. So whatever reject comes from the RFOD, that is reduction facilitated osmotic diffusion process, will be taken back to the effluent tanks. Hence, it gets recycled. So we do not discharge anything out of this technology. Hence, it is a ZDHC. Next. So this is going to.
Yeah, before that, just go back the earlier slide. Again, if you see here, the boom tower or the overall process flow diagram, as you can see, it all happens in the boom tower, right? So further downstream processes is basically depending on what the end user or what the end application wants. For example, this machine, like I said, or this technology or approach will deliver you ORP negative WHO standard alkaline water by default. That's how the technology is. Now, if someone wants to want demin water or ultra pure water, depending on the application, even we talked about heavy metals. So heavy metals for certain industries will be we need to go to PPB level. So this technology needs further downstream treatment if you are looking at demin water. This certainly will not, we are not claiming that this will give you a demin water quality. But the most important thing, what we explained, because we are taking out the anion out of the equation. Imagine a demin water plant in a power system or a power plant where there is no anion exchanger required. So that would be the major advantage. Of course, the OBR, the amount of acid, alkali, and other chemicals utilized will be significantly less. So that is how the downstream filtration or whatever the treatment technology is required is completely dependent on what the end user wants. But per se, outlet of boom tower after basic filtration, the Aquatron machine will still deliver ORP negative water or what it is also called as alkaline water. But we also explained that there are multiple other approaches of ORP negative or alkaline water, but they are not naturally produced. This is the natural. I would say this approach produces ORP negative or alkaline water naturally. At the same time, doesn't discharge except for the sludge bed. What you are seeing at the bottom is again elemental. Now, what doctor explained earlier, whatever is present in the Earth's crust is all natural. We don't, unless it is contaminated by some external force, which is industrial solid waste or any of the solid waste which has been dumped or which has a landfill. So then only we call that sludge as hazardous or semi-hazardous or whatever. But then naturally occurring elements are present in Earth's crust. So nature restorative because it goes back to the elemental form. Nothing is left untreated or unsolved. So with all this, the approach, again, what we are talking about when we say we don't require an evaporator or a conventional separation processes is simply because in a very layman's language or in a very simplest way to explain, the Aquatron water time machine converts TDS to TSS. That's the easiest and the shortest way to explain this. When we say TDS to TSS, that is why it is converted to elemental form. Yeah. Yeah. So I think this is just a comparison, just based on our experience. So you could see that, like Dr. explained, significant reduction. And what we have done is we have compared FP Star or Aquatron water time machine, the highest in terms of numbers, whether it is power, versus the possible lowest in terms of the sort of existing approaches to different challenges. We have just compared to multiple effect evaporation. There are multiple other advancements also. So this is just for academic purpose in terms of what we are done, but practically also you could see that again, like we explained, this is the only technology which uses the principles of physics. But then the most important thing what we have seen is we have this we use this cliched word called out-of-box thinking. The out-of-box thinking has become, I don't know, people just use it, just throw that word without even understanding or what is it out of box. But then I would say FP Star or water time machine Aquatron is completely new box, because again, out of box would have been using chemical or using biological, biochemical, or some of green chemistry approach to solve the unresolved or unsolved. But we are completely changing that because we are using the principles of physics. That is how I would put it. And again, the operating cost, because we don't have any chemicals per se to use, or the only utility we are using is power, and that depends on the power cost, can vary from different countries or different geographies. Again, if you see area, we don't require the other thing important here is there are three things which we would bring to the attention of everyone. Aquatron can be installed at any I would say any location or any part of the water utility system, whether it is wastewater, sewage, or otherwise, as long as the suspended solids is less than 200 ppm. Right. So if you imagine, if you have water, raw effluent or raw water, which is less than 200 ppm, you could straight away feed it to the Aquatron or the water time machine. And if the suspended solids are higher, probably you will require a pre-treatment just to reduce the suspended load to less than 200. And again, the reason here is why we talk of less than 200 ppm suspended solids is because, like I mentioned, this machine or this technology or this approach converts dissolved solids to suspended solids. And because it converts inherently or by its nature or by the approach, we don't want to add extra suspended solids. Again, we have antennas, as we all know. Antennas have a tendency to foul or scale, so and erode also. So that is the reason why we are limiting suspended solids. But we have also seen applications where customer is unable to reduce the suspended solids, but is still there are many places where they still see value, because the only thing what will happen is then the life of the antenna might reduce, but we see a lot of customers still wanting to go ahead because they still see value with the reduced life of the antenna. That is the only, I would say, major consumable as far as this technology is concerned. So that is, and of course, we need pH between 6 to 8.5. Otherwise, we need to correct the pH. And then temperature less than 45 degrees, ideally 40 to 42 degrees, but up to 45 degrees is okay. So these are the only three, I would say, requirements or prerequisites as far as FP Star or water time machine Aquatron technology is concerned. But other than that, we talk of servicing requirements, 7,000 to 8,000 hours. Again, we have taken the least because we don't want to, depends on the influent or the water to be addressed. It can, operational efficiency as well. And then it can go up to as high as 15,000 hours also. We have seen that. Of course, since we don't have much of unit operations, not much of rotary equipments to be managed and maintained. So we don't require, in fact, the headcount we have put as one, just in case if there is any breakdown for any other reasons. But this, since we have completely automated system, we can even remotely monitor and control if there are multiple units. That also is possible with a dedicated gateway. As compared to the conventional or the existing approach, I'm sure we all know about how do we operate. Doctor, then.
So this is one of the examples wherein we have implemented this technology in the municipal leachate dumping site, municipal solid waste dumping site, which produces the leachate. Leachate is very harsh effluent, which is contaminated to the extent of COD more than around more than 100,000 ppm, and BOD around 50 to 60,000 ppm, and even TDS level of around 20,000. But still, we achieve very clean, pristine water which can be reused. So in the right-hand side picture, when you see the bottommost leachate before processing and the topmost freshwater post-processing. So this is a continuous plant running. There are two plants we have installed already in Bangalore, India, and they are running perfectly. And leachate is otherwise it is very difficult effluent to be treated with the conventional technologies. This we are treating within 1.5 hours. The water which enters into the plant, it will be treated within 1.5 hours. So that is the beauty. In the conventional technology, even small very mined effluent which we have to treat means it will take around 18 to 20 hours to achieve zero liquid discharge. That is the difference. That's why in conventional technology we need a large space, whereas here we need very small place. This can be implemented or installed even on the terrace, or even in the car parking area, or even in the minus level in an apartment, or in a the tech park where they want to treat these sewage effluent, or even in the industries where they want to treat at the site. For example, many industries will generate different type of streams, which will ultimately go to ETP. So with the help of this technology, the ETP concept can be eliminated over a period. You treat the industry will be enabled to treat the stream-wise effluents generated at source by adopting 3-4 Aquatron machines and recycle the water then and there itself. The control at source. So entire ETP concept will not be required. So that is the advantage of this technology. Yeah. So this is a typical. It is one of the old model. I can say now a lot of design changes have happened. So this is a installation at a multinational client in Bangalore. This is how it looks, 300 KLD plant. It's a very small area, 2,800 square feet area. We have installed 300 KLD plant, and it consumed almost 2,800, that is, sorry, I have already told 2,800 square feet area only in the -3 level. Next. This is the test reports for raw water at Cisco plant, especially the gray and black water, that is sewage. Yeah, it's very difficult to read from here, but we will provide you with whoever is interested. Next. Yeah. So Aquatron, he has already told, Jay told it's a platform technology, hence it's the only working technology for municipal leachate. Seawater to drinking water and resource recovery can be achieved using this technology. It doesn't use the RO process nor produce reject. So it removes all type of hazardous compounds and heavy metals. It's the one platform for water treatment, sewage treatment, effluent treatment, and desalination. It provides zero liquid discharge without evaporation and works across all industries like textiles, leather, chemicals, pharma, etc. So when we started, we claimed this, and we are again claiming the same thing. That means the one technology you can adopt anywhere based on the elemental analysis simple. That's all. Thanks. So I think Jay has 2-3 times touched upon this point, the oxidation reduction potential or alkaline water when it comes out from the Aquatron. So what is advantage basically? Why ORP negative water is more advantageous? So potential health advantages for consumers by providing antioxidant rich hydration, detoxifying the body and eliminating toxin, immune boosting against illness and disease. This is the known science when we drink the ORP negative water. It enhances the nutrient absorption and plant growth. If I use the same water for irrigation purpose or a horticulture purpose, the crops yield will become very nice. They become very healthy because the cell permeability of ORP negative water is much better than ORP positive water. It prevents the corrosion and scale buildup in cooling systems. When we use this water for cooling water, makeup and all in power plant and microbial control, leading to increased efficiency and reduced maintenance costs. So if we use this ORP negative water either for a cooling tower makeup or producing the demineralization water. For example, ORP negative water will be rich in OH minus radicals. All the elements, especially the group 1 and group 2 elements in the final water will be in the hydroxide form. So that means even silica will not be there. That means when we produce the DM water, there is no anion load. When anion load is not there, the degasification is not required. The resin regeneration with the caustic soda is not required. So it is not only the cost of those chemicals, it is it is the impact on the environment. We will not be producing the wastewater, we will not be producing the chemical waste. So we will not be unnecessarily using the resins. So all those things can be eliminated if we think in a holistic way. So it is not only, it's not that I don't use only sodium hydroxide. That is not the only benefit. The benefits are enormous in terms of environmental protection. So incorporating ORP negative or alkaline water into industrial operations aligns with sustainable development goals by promoting eco-friendly practices. In many cases, it is a proven science today that when ORP negative water is used for production of some of the products, their chemical consumption will come down because there will not be any oxidative stress in chemical reaction or in the production plant. Hence, the chemical wastage will come down. The water requirement will come down. There is enormous benefit when we see about the ORP negative water in the industry also. Next.
Yes,
yeah.
Just to add what doctor said, absolutely the benefits of ORP negative or alkaline and naturally produced ORP negative and alkaline. Couple of more examples, practical. We are in fact testing this in a camel farm in Middle East, where the goal or the real ROI to the camel farm end user is to improve the gut health of camels. Imagine. It's not just drinking water because it's Middle East. Of course, it's seawater is the source of water or whatever saline water. So the Aquatron or Oceantron in this case, we'll talk about it. What is Oceantron, which is again, like I said, a platform technology. It will improve the gut health. So basically, human gut health. That's what health advantages. Then imagine, let's say I take an example of a beverage industry, right? If you talk of soda or a flavored soda, we also talk of the health issue, that health challenges with sodas, whether it is high sugar or even we talk of no sugar. But again, they are all caffeinated drinks. So imagine the large brands, global brands, which are there today in the world who are selling these sodas or colas, soda water or cola. Imagine if they start using ORP negative water and that significantly reduces their sugar intake and still give the same taste. Now, the ROI part or the economy part is anyway a given. But then imagine the brand, the statement the brand will make. If I'm the company, if I say that, look, I'm going to sell you this same cola or same soda water, which has 30 or 40% lesser sugar, utilization or being utilized for producing the same amount of whatever. And the energy drinks, we are many people in this today are literally we are used to that energy drinks and multiple drinks. ORP negative water reduces significantly the impact. I'm not saying that you will not have the negative impact because anyway, whatever is there with those colas and other things, we all know the challenges with that. But what we are trying to ascertain or we are going to put forward the point is the real benefits in the real world. Let's take a steel mill. Imagine the impact of ORP negative water on the surface property or surface chemistry of a steel, whether it is carbon steel, mild steel, or stainless steel, because that would significantly strengthen the strength of the steel with the chances of the bonds or the surface chemistry or the steel surface properties is much more enhanced by utilizing ORP negative or alkaline water. And if I want to use, let's say, a distillery, although distillery produces alcohol for whatever reason, the usage of ORP negative water would significantly improve the yield of alcohol production. So there are multiple real life benefits which could be explored. The one important thing is even drug delivery. Drug delivery, when we say drug delivery, today we know a lot of, like doctor was saying, today's sewage is not the same sewage which was 20, 40, 50 years back. Especially with post-COVID, it's become a thing that the medicine, the intake of medicine generally has gone up significantly because of the pandemic. But imagine with ORP negative water, because it's devoid of anions, if I wanted to, if the doctor has advised me 100 milligram of certain antibiotic or certain drug, with ORP negative water, I could still get the same efficiency by reduced concentration of the drug. that's the beauty, or that's the whole, I would say, game changer, or the new box thinking what we were talking about. So there are multiple other examples, real life, which we could explore. We are also learning because, like Doctor mentioned, this technology was first invented in 2017. It's been 7+ years where we have put this across in different applications, different situations over a longer period of time. So we'll talk about that in the next few slides. So I just wanted to highlight this.
Okay. So far we have seen the Aquatron for industrial effluent treatment or sewage treatment or even groundwater treatment. The same principle when it is applied for the ocean water, for the seawater, for the purpose of converting seawater into drinking water, how it works. So what is the advantage of that? How the seawater, the potential can be what is called tapped. How the seawater, the resources can be recovered. Though seawater mining is banned today, but this we are not going to mine it. We are going to produce the drinking water from seawater. But as a byproduct, what are the benefits we are going to have? I will explain in the coming slides. So this is the same principle. It will convert it into a seawater into a drinking water. Next, without issues related to desalination. So it's not desalination, it's seawater to water, I have already told, and the resource recovery. To say no to environmental issues, because today a lot of the brine concentrate is sent back to the sea. That's why the main Omani sadi, which is the famous fish, is extincted today. It is now today everybody is depending on more on the sweetwater fishing. That's why the Omani side there is no Omani side today available, unfortunately. So like that, many species may extinct in the coming days when we send the RO reject or a brine concentrate into the ocean. Next slide. So I will just take you through a quick comparison or a superiority of ocean tone over existing technology. So I have compared with seawater RO, that is the present technology. Our technology is based on FE*. I have already explained. The principle I have explained, it is dissociation of dissolved compounds. And the process is based on physics. Chemical we don't use. Power requirements, it is 18 to 20 kilowatt per meter cube, inclusive of sodium hydroxide and chlorine recovery. Because why sodium hydroxide? We don't dissociate sodium in the water because sodium can catch the fire as an element in the water. So all the sodium, when we do not dissociate, but when we dissociate the chlorine, so chlorine will go into the atmosphere, which has to be recovered, no doubt. And the sodium, the beauty of this technology, sodium will attach to OH minus to produce the equivalent quantity of sodium hydroxide. So water recovery, it is around 80 to 90% at IS 10500 standard. I'm talking about Indian standard, but it is at par with the WHO drinking water quality. So treated water ORP is negative, whereas if you say the seawater RO, it will still produce positive ORP. And still it will meet around 50 to 60%, not of WHO standard in terms of quality. Next slide. So we do not produce any reject, whereas in RO treatment around 40 to 50% it goes back to the sea, impacting the sea ecology ecosystem. Hence we do not impact any ecosystem, whereas RO reject will impact. So resource recovery, there is the beauty of this technology. We can recover rare earth elements present in the seawater, in addition to caustic recovery and chlorine recovery. Whereas in seawater RO, we cannot recover anything because all the RO reject will go back to the sea. So antenna replacement is as usual when we talk about the Aquatron. And plant operation, it is automated and can be integrated with IoT. So manpower, whatever is the size of the plant, we need only one person, like a pilot officer is required to run the flight. So this is the beauty of this technology when we compare with seawater RO. So the same principle I have already explained about the Aquatron while explaining. So it works on the same principle of resonance frequency when we talk about the seawater desalination. Next. So these are all some of the
Early
examples today, because when we started in the year 2017, we were badly hit during COVID. Almost 3 years, we suffered a lot because nobody was ready to accept the latest technologies. But hats off to those people who have given our first movers or forward-looking people who gave us the chance to prove our technologies. Today, we have almost 12 plants running across the globe. Even in Sharjah, we have, in Oman, we have one in Netherlands, and we have around 9 plants in India running. We are the only technology which has proved for the groundwater heavy metal removal, as well as the metallic effluent treatment, and for the what is called municipal leachate. They are all the tough effluents which we have treated. Next.
Yep.
So this is how the technology is about. We are very happy